Welcome back, my friends. This is your psychologist, Analina Alvarez. Today I want to share with you and I want to define what sexual abuse is, because a lot of times people have different ideas, or they think that sexual abuse is just penetration, and that wouldn't be right. There's different things that can happen that are under sexual abuse. So I'm going to give you different things, and you can actually figure it out for yourself if this person has sexual abuse, a child, a teenager, or even a grown-up. Okay, so one of the things that is called sexual abuse is if a grown-up have actually sexualized behaviors towards a child or towards a teenager. If they are actually telling him things, to do things, to pose themselves, even to take pictures in a sexual way, being able to kiss a child in a sexual way, it is under the roof of sexual abuse. If the kid has been touched over the clothes, and they've been touched inappropriate in their private parts, that is under the roof of sexual abuse. And if the kids have been shown any pornography, if an adult has shown a kid pornography, that is also called sexual abuse. Or if they have asked the kid to pose naked, that is also sexual abuse. So there are different things that is under the roof of sexual abuse. So any of these things, think about it. If it ever happened to you, or if it has happened to anybody else, and they don't think it's sexual abuse because they haven't been raped, or they haven't, nobody had penetrated them, it's not true. Because if somebody has actually shown somebody an underage pornography, they have abused this child. So it's under the sexual abuse roof. So what are the symptoms of a child that has been sexually abused? I'm going to give you real quick, because I'm going to do my best to make this video as short as I can, but I'm going to give you a lot of information. Okay, one of the things is that the kid will isolate. He's going to want to be alone. Another thing is that the kid will act up. He will be acting up and being rude, or being defiant. Okay, and I'm not saying that the kid is always being defiant. I'm saying that the kid is okay, and all of a sudden he's starting acting this way. Another thing is that they're not sleeping well for some reason. You see them and they're awake most of the time at night. They also have good grades, and all of a sudden the grades are going down, and you're like, what happened? Why? They become defiant and aggressive. They are also talking about suicide, and they talk about death, and you hear them, and maybe not to you, but they comment that a lot, and you kind of notice that. They start losing weight, or their appetite changes. Either they're eating too much, or they're not eating at all. So how do we prevent this? Because a lot of times we can't prevent it, because we're not with our kids 24 hours. But it's important for you to actually prepare your child mentally, emotionally, physically. It is so important to prepare your child. And I know that this could be something that you can do with bigger children, but there's little tiny children that you can't do anything about it, because they're small, they're babies, or they're 1 or 2 years old, and you can't really prepare a 1 or 2 year old how to behave or what to do when an adult comes and they abuse them. So, but when they start growing up, you can start showing them like their private parts, like where not to touch, or where, no, you can't do this, you're not going to let anybody touch in your private parts. I always tell the children, your private parts are where you put your bikinis. What do you cover when you put your bikinis? So they tell me, and I go ahead and tell them that's your private part. So you don't let anybody touch you there, because those are yours. No one is allowed unless it's your mom. Your mom is giving you a bath, or is changing you, or your parent, your parents. But unfortunately, I have so many cases that we have parents, we have fathers abusing grandparents, aunts, uncles, godfathers. I mean, you name it. Every family member that you can think of, I had a case where they have abused a child. So who can you trust? It's really hard to trust people with your children. So if you can avoid leaving your kids with someone else, do it. I mean, if you can avoid leaving your kids sleeping overnight somewhere else, well, do it. Because you know what? No one is going to really take care of your kids as like you do, because they're busy, because whatever, there's many reasons. So if you can avoid leaving your kids overnight anywhere else, do it. I grew my kids. I had two girls, and I would never leave them like overnight by themselves unless I would spend the night there. And I had a lot of people criticize me because of that. You know what? But if my kids would grow up again, if I had the chance to raise them again, I would do the same thing again. I would not let them go sleep somewhere else, because it's really hard to trust anybody. Okay, so being able to making sure that you are seeing all the symptoms. If that something's going on, you need to ask more questions for the kids. How do you prepare your kids? Well, you need to prepare them emotionally, psychologically, and physically. If you can physically send them to a place where they can actually learn karate or learn how to defend themselves, that's great. If you don't, well, you need to prepare them mentally. What are they going to say? Let them know that this could be a family member they love, and that's going to hurt their emotions. Or it can be someone that they respect, like a teacher or a principal, someone that they have authority over them, for them to know what to do and what to say to those people if they want to touch them. You need to let them know that it's okay, that they have the right to their body, and they have the right to not let anybody touch them if they choose, if they don't want to. And even if they want to, if they're underage, I think the adults would know that they're underage, and they can be charged as sexual abuse. So being able to prepare your kids is very important. What do these perpetrators will tell the kids? Well, eventually, if the abuse is already done, what do I do now? Well, what's going to happen is that if the abuse is already done, the perpetrator is always going to tell the kids, you better not say anything, because I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt your siblings. I'm going to hurt your mom, and they're going to send them to jail, and you're going to be alone. I mean, they put all this fear into the kids, and the kids many times will not say anything because they fear something's going to happen to them or to their family. Okay, so making sure that you gotta pay attention to those really nice, extra nice people with your children, that they want to play with them all the time, and they want to, like, you know and I know you can make the choices that you want to make with your kids. I'm just giving you information based on all the cases I have seen. So don't take this personally, like I'm telling you what to do with your kids, because they're your kids. You can raise them however you want. I just want to give you that information that may be helpful for you to make sure you protect your kids from anyone and anywhere. Okay, so one of the things that you need to remember is not to accuse your kids. If something really already happened, unfortunately, is already done, and abuse is done already, make sure you don't accuse them of anything. They are victims. They're not at fault. It's not their fault that they've been abused. So make sure you don't accuse them of anything. And you can, one of the things that I will recommend you to do is to help them get help. You know, make sure you take them to therapy. Make sure you call the police. I'm going to give you a number for you to call. This number is 1-800-422-4453, and this is in the United States. So this number is called hotline for children. So you can call there, or you can call 911 so they can actually arrest whoever have abused your child. Unfortunately, you know, it happens all the time. But making sure that you give the child some help. And let me just go a little further than this. Sometimes this is not a child. Sometimes this is a teenager already, or sometimes this is a woman or a guy or a man. Okay, because there are couples that are married and the woman is being sexually abused by the husband, and you would say, well, why is the husband, how can he sexually abuse her? Because if the woman does not want to have any sexual relationships and the husband imposes himself and forces her to do that, that is also called sexual abuse. And that is also you can call the police and accuse your partner for sexually abusing. Okay, whether it's the man to the woman or the woman to the man, because I know I cannot leave men behind. There's also men that have gone through sexual abuse. So either way, you got to make sure, you got to understand that it is, even though you're married, that is called sexual abuse, because it has to be in a marriage. They both have to want to have sexual relationships. So if one is against it and the other one forces the other person, it's called sexual abuse, and you can call the police for that. Make sure that you get help. Whether you call this number and they will give you some resources for you to actually get therapy. You can actually leave your name and your phone number, and I will contact you so we can start therapy, because it's very important. If you do not do therapy after a sexual abuse, what happens is this: if you don't heal, this will go with you and you'll take it to marriage. Some people get married, and when they get married and then they have problems when it comes to intimacy and when it comes to sexual relationships, because the other person is traumatized and there's conflict. And I know this because I have clients that I am helping right now. They're already in a marriage, but one of them was sexually abused, and now we're helping them to heal. So healing is very important. It's very, very, very important for you to actually look for help. And once again, we can help you. We are there for you. And this number I gave you is 24 hours. So make sure you look for help. I hope this video was helpful, and please leave me a comment if you need to. Leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and you can share it with people you don't know who is going through this, and they have kept it in secret, and they think that they can't say anything, but there is help for you out there. So make sure that you look for that help. Okay, thank you for being here. I hope you like this video. You take care and see you next time. This is your psychologist, Ana Alvarez. Bye-bye.